I just bought a week's worth of groceries, fully insulated my house with the highest quality asbestos, and took my family of 17 to the local taxpayer-subsidised blackface show, all for 32 cents. I just spent my life savings on a carrot.
Almost 1 in 3 Australian households have experienced food insecurity in the past 12 months. New research from the Food Bank, which is Australia's largest food relief organisation, discovered that 77% of the 3.7 million households going through food insecurity are experiencing it for the very first time. The majority of people are buying less food to try and manage cost of living pressures, and they're slashing fresh produce and protein from the grocery list to help with costs. According to the data, young people are also worse off, with Gen Zs and millennials being more likely than boomers and Gen X to skip at least one meal a week because of money. So if you're experiencing food insecurity, like 3.7 million other households are, organisations such as Food Bank, OzHarvest and Second Bite are set up across the country to assist with food support.
For the first time in my adult life, I have been mobilised by a bill, right? So my electricity bill is normally like $700 for a family of 6, which is like, I expect that. So I put $1,000 away. For my latest bill from July to September, it was almost $3,000. Now, just a little bit of context, we used a wood fire heater through winter. We didn't add anything new. This house was built in 2015. It's very insulated. My husband checked all the electricals when we moved in with this fancy little machine. It's all passed. So I called the electricity company and I was like, help. Their response was basically like, this is not an us problem, and offered me better rates in the future. Didn't offer me a payment plan, didn't offer me like any kind of support, just like, do your thing. I am at such a loss because everything is costing more these days. Groceries, fuel, gas, water, everything costs. And it hurts.
By this particular point in my life, I had a plan that I would be a mother already. Even if I didn't have a partner, I was going to go and look at, a sperm donor or IVF. I had plans in place. I really want to be a mother. I've always wanted to be a mother, but the current cost of living in Melbourne, Australia, which is where I'm located, is insane. I work full-time. My partner works full-time. We can barely afford our groceries, our rent. I have a loan repayment due to a surgery that I had to have several years ago. It was deemed elective surgery, but I had to have it. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't covered by Medicare and it really should have been. I had to pay for that out of pocket. I'm still paying back the loan. You pair that with groceries, rent, it's just mad. I really feel at this point it would be irresponsible for me to have a child. I'm not getting any younger. I'm genuinely afraid that I'm not going to be able to fulfill that wish of mine. I'm not going to be able to fulfill my dream of motherhood. It really terrifies me.
Australia, feed your family of 4 for under $10 is back.
The fact that I'm one person and my groceries just cost me $116 absolutely astounds me. And what could you possibly get for $116? Well, let me tell you. A thing of watermelon, 4 cucumbers, 2 punnets of cherry tomatoes, a bunch of parsley, tin corn, tin lentils, a thing of feta, some onions, some laundry liquid, some toothpaste, and a shower cap. All for the low price of $116. Wasn't any meat in there, and the only dairy I got was butter. When I was growing up, my grandparents would spend $250 a week on groceries to feed a family of 6. And to put this into perspective of how bad this is, I personally work full-time, I don't go to uni, and I earn about $850 a week. Those groceries I just got obviously aren't going to last me a week. I'm going to need to buy something else. Let's say $150 for groceries for the week. So that leaves us with $700. Then my rent, which is $310 a week, already down to $400. I have to be able to get to and from my job. Opal is expensive. It works out to be about $60 a week. That's $340. Now I just ran out of my birth control pill, which is $90. So that brings us down to $250. Now I also need to budget for my phone bill, my electricity bill, and the Wi-Fi bill. Given the cost of electricity prices at the moment, that's about $150 a week. So that leaves me with $100 a week left. $100 a week left, and somehow I'm expected to have savings, not to be depressed, and be able to socialise with friends. Now I hear what you're thinking. Ariel, why don't you go to uni so you can get a better paying job? If I can barely afford to live, working full time, how the fuck am I supposed to afford to live if I went to uni? Oh, but what about the youth allowance payment? Youth allowance is currently paid at about $562 a fortnight, but to get that $560 a fortnight, you also can't earn over $427 a fortnight either, which means you should be living off about $495 a week. That might be well and dandy if you can live at home, but not everyone has that luxury. And it's not like I'm living it up in the Ritz. I'm in a very, very old apartment. It's not like I'm shopping at an organic farmer's market. I'm shopping at your local Woolies, getting public transport everywhere, and have a proper night out maybe 1 or 2 times a month. I can't even tell you the last time I went on a fucking holiday. And all of my beauty treatments I do to keep myself looking to some sort of fucking standard, I do at home, except for my hair. This generation isn't living. We are merely surviving, paycheck to fucking paycheck. We are living in the Great Depression, part 2. The government just doesn't want to admit it.
Good evening. It's now official. Australia is in the grips of the worst cost of living crisis on record. The Bureau of Statistics confirming what so many are feeling today, as the NAB became the first big bank to pass on the latest interest rate rise.
Looking over the city of Perth, the man looking over another rate rise, Philip Lowe, dining at one of the best in the West.
I want to assure you that the board is very focused on understanding these pressures on family budgets. We talk about them a lot at our meetings and we do take them into account in our decisions.
New ABS data showing working Australians facing the highest yearly jump in cost of living on record, up 9.6%, driven by the cost of mortgages and rent. Prices for pensioners up 7.2%.
This is the job of governing. They've got tough decisions to make. They've got the resources to make them. We would hope next week that that's what they do.
What we've tried to do is to provide cost of living relief in a number of areas.
One of those is childcare. Tonight, the government extending its cheaper childcare pledge for 4 years.
In just over 50 days, childcare will get a lot cheaper for more than 1 million Australian families.
Australians with a mortgage won't be waiting that long for the rate rise to be passed on, as a parliamentary committee passes on its verdict on the cost of living crisis. The interim report confirming what many Australians are living. Wages not growing fast enough to keep up with inflation as energy, housing and groceries rise, forcing more Australians to seek help. Philip Lowe wouldn't predict if more rate rises were needed. However, the Reserve Bank Governor believes Australia's inflation can be toppled without mass unemployment, but with one catch.
The level of output produced per hour work in Australia today is the same as it was 3 years ago.
Insisting we'll have to work harder or smarter, or both.
Charles joins me now, and sticking with Philip Lowe, Charles' criticism over the latest rates rise, but Dr Lowe is strongly defending the move.
Evening, Pete. He is. Deloitte Access Economics labelled this latest decision recession roulette. And with the first bank moving this afternoon, it is heaping pressure on families right across Sydney tonight. Philip Lowe has been heavily criticised in recent months, but on this occasion he can't be accused of taking the popular way out or trying to save his own job. Instead, an apparent strong consensus from the Reserve Bank Board says that this is what's best for the country. Pete?
Charles, thank you.